Hey, good evening, everybody. It is October 12th, 2020, and you are listening to Always Me Kelly, perspectives from Always Me Kelly with Always Me Kelly. It's always me, just who I am, who I was, who I can be, who I will be, just always me. Anyway, hey, thanks for tuning in. If I sound a little funny, I'm still having some problems with my ear. It's all good. Felt good for a couple of days and then it started acting up again. I've got an appointment. It'll get there. It'll get there. You know what? Let's talk about some blessings and not just always about what's going on. Because I can tell you, I can fill your head and fill your ears and fill your mind with so many things that go wrong 24/7. Um, I wish, I wish that life was a bunch of roses, but I usually get the thorns, so that's okay. It's all right. This stage of the game, like many of us, if he gets us up, if he gives us air in our lungs, if he gives us hearing in our ears, if he gives us vision in our for our eyes, if he gives us movement in our body, even if there's stuff going on that we may lose it, even if it's fading, even if it's slow, we are blessed more than others will be because not everybody got up today, not everybody will get up tomorrow. We don't get to pick and choose. We are given a vessel, we are given freedom of choice, freedom of will, and the vessel that we are given the opportunity to do our best to take care of ourselves. And sometimes, I'm speaking from experience, sometimes we get carried away. We get so caught up in the chase of day to day to day to day that everything is so important. The money, the paper chase that we're after, the gotta have things that we're after that, they end up being collectibles, right? How many things do we have that if we were to physically pack up our things ourselves and go through every single thing, how many things would you recognize that you've had for so long that you forgot that they were even there? What is the purpose? And I say this with, fluidity, if I even said that right, because it's kind of late and I don't pronounce things too well anyway. And anyway, it sounded funny. But hey, I have been with a dear friend, helping a dear friend that passed on. So, and just from experience in itself. So, a couple of years back, I don't know if I've ever told the story. A couple of years back, I've been in my house for about 6 years now. Actually, just celebrated 6 years. And the first 2.5, I had no neighbors on one side. I have, very quiet street, lots of woods, lots of snakes, lots of coyotes. But the one house next to me was empty, but people would come and take care of it. I come to find out that a older fella had lived there and gotten sick and had to go off to rehab or whatever. He never made it back. And after about 2.5 years, one day I came home from work to see everything that had ever been in that house was just put out in the driveway. And it kind of blew my mind, and it was like sickening because people were coming every week. They were mowing, they were doing stuff on the property. And then I noticed that they were going in the house more and probably taking stuff out. I don't, I try not to get in other people's business. I am observant to a point, but I try to stick in my own little bubble to take care of what I have to take care of. So I don't know if they were family, if they were friends, if they were hired. But the bottom thing is that I do know, the bottom line is that apparently they were paid caretakers and they never took care of what they should have, and the bank foreclosed. So everything that soul 4 years ago, that soul had was just put out into the driveway. And it was like, there's no shame in my game. I've been in some pretty crappy places in my life, whether I've walked in there, whether I've had to live there, whatever the case may be. But it's almost like people were like cockroaches when you go into a place. And I remember this because I remember years ago I was going to rent a little efficiency for me and my son. And I was young. I was 19, 20 years old. Went in to look at it, and the landlord turned the light on, and the roaches just scattered. And I was like, oh, heck no. I was out of there. Um, but it was kind of like that. All of a sudden, these people were coming out of nowhere, and you never even knew that they existed in the neighborhood. But they were there just picking through all this person's belongings. And I thought, man, I need to start minimizing stuff. I need to get a grip, because I've had stuff. I used to collect. I used to save things. I used to save concert tickets. I used to save a lot of different things because they were my treasures. They were my memories, the things that I worked hard for, the places I got to go. And I remember the very first time, from being a kid, I didn't have much. So anything that I got to do, ribbons from riding horses, stuff like that, anything, I would actually save them. But when the first time I got married, my ex-husband now, didn't last long, but my ex-husband took every single thing that I owned, including my scrapbooks and the things that meant something, threw them in a burn pile and says, we'll make new memories. You don't need anything that you had. Yeah. Anyway, says a lot about why I ended up divorced, but I was a lost puppy back then. We all go through these things where we collect things, or we want things, or we put up with things, or we do things just so that we can think we can fill that space or have what we're truly desiring. And in the end, sometimes it hurts a whole lot worse getting what we thought was what we wanted than what it was. And you lose a lot of stuff along the way. But that's not why I'm not here. I'm not here to reminisce about old times. I have been through some hills and valleys in my life, and I have survived. And I can laugh about it now, and it was no laughing matter. I can assure you that. When you become a 98-pound rag doll getting put through tables, it's no laughing matter. We do what we do. We move on. And if God allows you with the breath of the next day, take it and know you are blessed and do something positive and grow forward. But bringing me to current date, talking about all these treasures, all these things that we collect, all these things that we have to have, all these things that are truly meaningful and memories to us while we're alive. Memories to those that are very tight with us, very close with us while they're alive. However, as I am going through doing inventory and counting and sorting and trying to depersonalize someone's home so that it can be put up on the market. And yeah, we can get somebody in there. You can hire somebody, but you don't do that to family. You don't do that to friends unless you just don't have the time, or you don't have the ability because of emotions to sort through. But so many things that beautiful, smart, intelligent, thoughtful, kind-hearted, godly, non-godly, doesn't matter. People, we collect things, and then when we no longer get back up, it gets put in a pile for people to rummage through that never knew you, never knew how much you cared, how much your smile meant to somebody, never knew all the good things that you did, because in this world we live, it's all by accolades, right? We don't seem to matter if we don't have that pile of accolades. We don't seem to matter if we don't have awards. And even more so nowadays, man, it seems like there's a whole generation they got it wrong. They got it wrong. There is no entitlement. None of us, no brand new baby or 100 and whatever, none of us on this earth deserve a thing. Yet some people, they do what they do selfishly, creating craziness, drama, havoc, pain points, their own demise at times because of their selfish ambitions. Other times, unruly temper tantrums at any age take place because people think that they deserve something. All the while, and I'm not saying that everybody's got it going on, or whether, because it doesn't matter what you have, where you come from. We all get to choose. The point is none of us deserve anything. And although we should be living our best life and putting our best foot forward and doing our best, and always consider others before ourselves, just doesn't happen. But, there's always darkness before the light. There always is. Anyway, I need to switch it up a little bit because I was flipping through tonight and I landed on Isaiah 66. And it says, "This is what the Lord says. Heaven is my house, and earth is my footstool. Could you build me a temple as good as that? Could you build me such a resting place? My hands have made both heaven and earth. They and everything in them are mine. I, the Lord, have spoken. I will bless those who have humble and contrite hearts, who tremble at my word. But those who choose their own ways, delighting in their detestable sins, will not have their offerings accepted. When such people sacrifice a bull, it is no more acceptable than a human sacrifice. When they sacrifice a lamb, it is as though they have sacrificed a dog. And when they bring an offering of grain, they might as well have offered the blood of a pig. When they burn frankincense, it's as if they have blessed an idol. I will send great trouble in all the things they feared. For when I called, they did not answer. When I spoke, they did not listen. They deliberately sinned before my very eyes and chose to do what they know I despise. Hear this message from the Lord, all you who tremble at his words. Your own people hate you and throw you out for being loyal to my name. Let the Lord be honored. They scoff. Be joyful in him. But they will put to shame what is all the commotion in the city? What is that terrible noise from the temple? What is the voice of the Lord taking vengeance against the enemies? Before the birth pains even began, Jerusalem gives birth to a son who has never seen anything as strange as this. Who ever heard of such thing? Has a nation ever been born in a single day? Has a country ever come forth in a mere moment? But by the time Jerusalem's birth pains begin, her children will be born." Sorry, you get a visitor. So before the birth pains even begin, Jerusalem gives birth to a son who has ever seen anything as strange as this. Has a nation ever been born in a single day? Has a country ever come forth in a mere moment? But by the time Jerusalem's birth pains began, her children will be born. I said that twice. Excuse me, I am losing my place because I got a cat that might set herself on fire. That is my Heidi, has to come hang out with me. So, would I ever bring this nation to the point of birth and then not deliver it, asked the Lord? No, I would never keep this nation from being born, says your God. Rejoice with Jerusalem. Be glad with her, all you who love her and all you who mourn her. Drink deeply of her glory, even as an infant drinks at its mother's comforting breast. That is what the Lord says. I will give Jerusalem a river of peace and prosperity. The wealth of the nations will flow to her. Her children will be nursed at her breast, carried in her arms, and held on her lap. I will comfort you there in Jerusalem, as a mother comforts her child. When you see these things, your heart will rejoice. You will flourish like the grass. Everyone will see the Lord's hand of the blessing on his servants and anger against his enemies. See, the Lord is coming with fire, and his swift chariots roar like a whirlwind. He will bring punishment with the fury of his anger and flaming fire of his hot rebuke. The Lord will punish the world by fire and by his sword. That is 66, 1 through 16. Going over to N16, he will judge the earth, and many will be killed by them. Those who consecrate and purify themselves in the sacred garden with its idol in the center, feasting on pork and rats and other detestable meats, will come to a terrible end, says the Lord. I can see that what they are doing, and I know what they are thinking. So I will gather all of the nations and the peoples together, and they will see my glory. I will perform a sign among them, and I will send those who survive to be my messengers to the nations, to Tarshish, to Lydians who are famous as archers, to Tubal in Greece, and all the lands beyond the sea that have not heard of my fame and seen my glory. They will declare beyond, I'm so sorry. There they will declare my glory to the nations. They will bring a remnant of your peoples back from every nation. They will bring them to my holy mountain in Jerusalem as an offering to the Lord. They will ride on horses and chariots and wagons and mules and camels, says the Lord. And I will appoint some of them to be my priests and Levites. I, the Lord, have spoken. As surely as my new heavens and earth will remain, so will you always be my people, with the name that will never disappear, says the Lord. All humanity will come to worship me from week to week and from month to month. And as they go out, they will see the dead bodies of those who rebelled against me. For the worms that devour them will never die, and the fire that burns them will never go out. All who pass by will view them in utter and horror. That's some pretty intense stuff. Now, I am not a biblical scholar by any means. I try to read, I try to do devotions, but I, like many, I like that pretty package stuff. I like those devotionals that kind of tell a story and leave your heart feeling really good. And in today's world, it's hard to get that feeling really good, right? Or holding on to it. We can do a lot of things. There's a lot of things that we can push towards. Could be whatever you do at home, could be biblical stuff, but I try to learn as much about the Bible as I can. And like I said, I've been walking the walk and trying to be obedient as I can for as long as I can. And I am learning to minimize. The more experience that I've gotten and been exposed to helping and seeing people's estates, right? When whatever you have, you don't have to be rich and famous to have an estate. Whatever you have the day you depart, it's all part of the package that you left behind. And what happens with that matters. What happens with it before you leave matters more, though. So leaving a legacy matters. Leaving a legacy for those that you lead, that you may not even understand that you're leading, matters. So lead by example. And if it comes down to it, what do you have surrounding you? Are you in a place in your life that you are so down and out and you feel you have nothing? Dig deep and start in your head, on paper, anywhere you can, acknowledging the blessings that you do have. If you feel that things are really not going the way they could be, life is bad, you're ready to check out, you're weary, you're tired, you're done, you're over people. Sometimes I would rather have a whole house full of pets than deal with people. But then you still got to clean up the yak, right? And when you're dealing with people, you still got to clean up the yak. You have to figure out what to do with it. And we get to choose what we do with it, with that yak, the yak of life. And I know this is kind of a weird perspectives with Kelly. Here I am reading Isaiah 66, and we're talking about the horrors that are come to pass for those who know of God but ignore him. My perspective, my scenario of how I'm describing it. And tying it back to yak, the yak of life, right? Because sometimes that's all it is. Sometimes life just keeps throwing stuff at us as nothing but BS. Nowhere in the Bible has it ever been written that I found, and I tend to go out and I'm a Google queen. I like to go out and say, hey, or hey Siri, tell me this, or, nowhere does it say life is ever going to be easy. As a matter of fact, it says as we build relationships, it's going to have difficulties. And nowhere did it say it was ever going to be free. Although Jesus Christ paid the price for our freedom, we still have the cost of obedience to ourselves, to the vessels that we are blessed with, to paying it forward and being a light in a dark world, in a dark place in the world. Sometimes that's just as easy by not reacting to people that are out there freaking out. Not reacting to people that are doing road rage. Not reacting to people that tell you to go F off. And, excuse me for my bluntness, but I'm trying to keep it real. And I am far from perfect. I am far from perfect. We need to dig deep. We need to dig in. We need to learn the fruits of the Spirit. We need to circle up in whatever it takes for positive growth, positive, no agenda people in our lives that want to grow forward, that want the peace of God, that want the mercy and grace to flow out of them that has been flowed into them, that want to acknowledge that the world is a messed up place and acknowledge how hard it is to know that, everything that you're sitting around looking at, whether you got billion-dollar homes, multiple things stacked up, a stack of cash, or nothing but a dirt floor and a tin roof, that you acknowledge the fact that you have more blessings than many will never have. And what you do with the time you get, what you do with the gifts of life, what you do with the material things that are all temporary. Because everything in this world, including us, including the vessels we are given, are temporary. And I can tell you that things start breaking down. They start breaking down. I was a fearless fool when I was young. I've had more broken bones and I've had more situations and stitches. And I remember my mother used to tell me when we would finally get a minute to talk when we'd run across, and she'd tell me, you're going to be sorry by the time you're in your 30s. You're not going to be able to walk. Well, I'm not going to say how old I am, and I'm still walking. And I may walk with a limp. It depends on how long I sit. And I'm still walking and tripping up and cracking my toes open or something like that. But yeah, things start breaking down. Things start breaking down. You have to slow down and take better care. And I'm speaking to myself as well, because I am that one that I know I have certain things going on. And I just keep pushing through. And all of a sudden, dang, I could have prevented that. So can you. So can you. It doesn't matter if it's your health, where you live, your finances, people that you've been blessed to be a light, be a stable bar, stable thing in their lives. It doesn't matter what it is. You get to choose on what's important to you. And sometimes it makes it hard because, and I'll talk from families, right? For couples, especially when you have kids and stuff. Sometimes it makes it real hard when You've been there for so long, and all of a sudden you realize that you're not growing the same direction. It makes a difference when you realize that one of you are going to the east and the other one's going to the west, and one of you have things that you desire and things that you love and things that you don't want to stop doing, while the other one has more important things, and they're not all about that family base. And hey, I am no expert, because I can even tell you that, everybody's thought on how families should be raised are different. People from different cultures all over the place. You have families that come and they stick together no matter what. Some of them live in big houses together, and some of them are just always there for each other. And then you have big families that don't even talk to each other. The world is messed up. The world is burning down around us, and it's not going to get any better. It's not going to be any better. So what is my point, my perspectives tonight? Talking about all those things that we collect, all those treasures that are meaningful, those memories, when we're sitting there and no one else is around, and we flash back in our mind and we laugh at it because a song or a smell or something has taken us back in time to something that warmed our heart and made our heart smile back at that time. Or even a person. Those people that we care desperately for, that were always part of our life, and then one day they were no more because their time stamp was up. Don't put yourself in a corner. Don't think that no matter what you're chasing in this world, it's going to make a difference to fill the voids that you might have. Don't not love because those people that you put your effort into didn't know how to love you back. Don't not have a caring heart because at some point in your life you cared too much, and those that could see right through you knew how to take advantage of that. And it hurt. Don't stop being you, the authentic you, the one that Jesus Christ hung on that cross and died on that cross and came back so that you could live. You are worth more than anything this world will ever give or take. And no one knows that more truthfully than Jesus Christ. God sent his only son as a human man to walk this earth, to know what it's going to be like to walk this earth, the things that would happen, to be tormented, to be tortured, to face death, and to come back alive, to allow us to know that there is promise in every tomorrow that you are given. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with all those things that are collected all up and around you? Nothing stands still. Time doesn't stand still. And our time is not God's timing. If you're waiting for something to happen, don't give up. Build your relationship every second you get deeper and deeper with Jesus Christ. Walk with him through whatever it is that you're waiting for. Walk with him no matter if it turns out in the favor and the expectation that you wanted or it does not. Learn to let go. Learn to let go of all those things that are weighing heavy on you and a burden. And you're losing sleep, and you're losing the ability to breathe. You're losing your smile that was given to you deep down inside your soul. You're losing the ability to look at others that once made your heart smile. Let it go. Let it hurt and let it heal. Stop collecting things. Leave a legacy that matters. Give the gift of life through music, through knowledge, through caring by paying it forward. It doesn't have to be some kind of spectacular gift. It doesn't have to be anything but a simple card letting someone that you know that's shut in, that has no visitors, know that you're thinking of them. It could be a listening ear. It could be a mentorship. It could be somebody very talented out there giving free lessons to the needy. And maybe even musical instruments. It could be something as easy as teaching someone how to read, teaching somebody how to write, reading for them. I know in 2020 this world has been shook upside down, and God is warning us. He put us in time out. Think what you must. You can call me crazy. I was crazy a long time ago. You can't lose what you never had. And if you walked in my shoes, and I could tell you what it's like, I could tell you what it's like to be broken. I could tell you what it's like to be in the middle of a New York State winter with no heat and hot water. I could tell you what it's like to have next to nothing. And I could tell you what it's like to have everything. I could tell you what it's like to give it away. I could tell you what it's like to have it stolen, have it broken. I could tell you what it's like the day that I woke up and realized that I was no longer the person that I used to be, because I stepped forward and cried out to Jesus. I can tell you what it's like that all my friends used to say, she's a good girl, she doesn't do that. And I would get mad at them. I would get mad at them because I never knew what it meant. I could tell you what it's like to be out there and have to fight to stay alive. I could tell you what it's like to be a 12-year-old kid and drink a whole bottle of Jack Daniels. Or run with the big dogs. I could tell you what it's like to have a gun put to your head, a knife put up on you. We all got stories. We all got demons that we have to live with. We all got choices. Every single one of us has been given the same blessing. One, we all bleed red. So stop with your nonsense. Don't try to be like somebody else. Be the person that you were meant to be. Find and know your place in this world and lead by example. The other thing is we all get to choose. If you chose to listen to me, just my perspectives, Always Me Kelly, surrounded by pets. Normally my perspectives with Always Me has dogs barking. Tonight you get the cats. And yes, that is a black cat named Diablo. I used to have a Chihuahua named Buddha. Yeah. Don't judge me. I won't judge you. But for real, we all get to choose. We all have to own our choices when things go wrong, when we choose and things don't turn out the way we expect them to. Do your very best to keep moving and growing forward. Do your very best to keep being a light, even if it's a glimmer of hope. Do your best when you can't change anything, when you have no control, when you know you made a mistake, when you know, and I hope you know, that you can never, ever make somebody remain truthful, love you, or anything. You cannot think for a person. You cannot force somebody to do anything. We all have our own choices. Be your authentic self. It is an election year. I don't normally talk about politics. And for a long time, I never talked about religion. And having a relationship, my perspective, you say what you want. I am not a theologian. I am still learning every day. I am doing my best to remain obedient, to remain with ethics, with integrity. And I am probably one of the most loyal people that you may ever meet. Maybe, maybe not, my perspective. But what I will tell you is that it's all about choices. And our world is in dire need right now, that we all need to get out and we need to make our choices. And I suggest that you don't listen to anybody. You don't listen to anybody and just go out and vote and use your right that being a United States citizen allows you. I suggest that you dig deep. You learn as much about every single person that's on the ballots, and you make your own choices because you did it yourself, not because you're doing it for somebody else, not because your mama, your brother, your sister, your mother, your friend, or whoever likes somebody. Get out there and do your best and use your rights. Use the freedoms that you've been given. If you want to see change, be part of the change, be heard. Now, I'm not all about political arenas. I detest all of that. I have my own theory about the whole governmental system, but you know what? We all have to answer to someone in the physical world, and we all will answer to God in the spiritual world. And that's the one thing that, if you haven't figured it out, the war has been ongoing forever and ever. God's already won it. But the battles are just beginning. Every day that you're allowed up. Find your light. Be a light. Let it go. Let it hurt. Let it heal. And be your best authentic self. Pay it forward. Every single soul is going through something. People have lost loved ones, have lost babies, have lost themselves, have lost finances, are losing things every single day. Are you ready? Because every wave that washes over us, you're either coming in one, you're underneath the water right now feeling like you can't breathe, or you're coming out of one. Who is it that you have walking with you, swimming with you? Don't think you can swim with them sharks all alone. Don't think you can play that game of life's chess, because there's some pretty damn good players out there in this world. Sometimes you see right through them. Sometimes you don't. So my perspective is all the things that you're going to leave behind, and anytime we could go, do they really matter? What is it that they are going to do for your loved ones? And yeah, we all got the demons. We all got the monkey on our back. We all got those things that we can't get away from, that we have to have. I'm telling you right now, make Jesus your best friend. Talk to him every day and let him take that burden. You'll be surprised that when you wake up and you didn't even realize that everything changed. We'll still have problems, but at least you'll have peace, you'll have direction, and you won't fall apart as much as you deny you do. With that note, I thank everybody for listening. Today is October 12th, 2020. This was Perspectives with AlwaysMeKelly. Thank you for listening to my pets and my horrible reading skills that I'm brushing up on. But know you are loved. Let's do this. Do it for yourself. Do it for your future. Do it for the future of any children that you have, any children that you're related to, any children, period. even if you don't like them. Be that voice. Make a difference. Peace out.